Welcome to AmdiVibes, where today we're diving into the story of a man who held Hollywood in the palm of his hand, made grown men tremble at the sound of his name, and then blasted all because of one fatal mistake. This is the story of Michael Ovitz. It starts in Encino, California, 1946. Michael Ovitz is born to a liquor wholesaler and a homemaker. Nothing special, no connections, no famous family name, no silver spoon, just a sharp mind, burning ambition, and an obsession with one question: how does power actually work? As a teenager, he gives tours at Universal Studios to make money. He watches the executives, the agents, the producers. He doesn't see glamour, he sees a system, a game, and he starts studying how to win it. He gets into UCLA, studies theater, radio, and television, then lands a job in the mailroom at William Morris Agency, the most prestigious talent agency in the world at the time. The mailroom, most people would see that as the bottom. Michael Ovitz saw it as the perfect classroom. He watches everything. He learns how deals are made, how clients are handled, how power flows from person to person in Hollywood. He works 18-hour days. He memorizes names, faces, relationships, leverage points. But slowly, he starts to see something that bothers him. William Morris is stuck in the past, rigid, bureaucratic, run by old men protecting old methods. Ovitz believes there's a better way, more aggressive, more strategic, more powerful way to represent talent. So in 1975, at just 28 years old, Michael Ovitz does something almost nobody does in Hollywood. He walks away from the most powerful agency in the world, and he starts his own. He convinces the colleagues to leave with him. They pull together $21,000 money they barely have, and they start Creative Artists Agency, CA, operating out of a tiny office with no clients, no reputation, and no reason for anyone to take them seriously. Hollywood laughs at them. Hollywood will not be laughing for long. Here is where Michael Ovitz does something genius. Every other agency in Hollywood operated the same way. You represent an actor, you find them a job, you take your 10%, you move on. Simple, transactional. Ovitz tears that model apart. He invents something called packaging. Instead of selling one client at a time, CA bundles entire projects together: the director, the writer, the lead actor, all CA clients, and sells them as a complete package to studios. Suddenly, the studios aren't hiring individuals anymore. They're buying entire productions assembled by one man who now sits at the center of every major deal in Hollywood. Within a decade, CAA represents the biggest names on earth: Robert De Niro, Dustin Hoffman, Martin Scorsese, Steven Spielberg, Bill Murray, Meryl Streep, Michael Jackson. If you were a major star in the 1980s and early 1990s, chances are Michael Ovitz was your agent. Studios stop calling agents. They call Ovitz first. Directors don't greenlight movies. Ovitz greenlights movies. He arrives at meetings before anyone else and leaves last. He returns every phone call within the hour. He knows every secret, every relationship, every pressure point in the industry. He operates with military discipline. His office runs like an intelligence agency. And he builds something else fair. If you cross CA, you don't work. Simple as that. Studios that bypass CA clients find themselves suddenly without directors, without stars, without writers. Ovitz never threatens anyone directly. He doesn't have to. Everyone already knows the rules. By the early 1990s, Vanity Fair calls him the most powerful man in Hollywood. Not one of the most powerful, the most powerful. More powerful than any studio head. More powerful than any director. More powerful than any star. Michael Ovitz is 45 years old, and he has won. And this right here is where the AmdiVibes community needs to pay close attention, because this is where the story turns. Because power has a shadow side, and Michael Ovitz, the man who studied power his entire life, is about to be destroyed by the one thing he never fully understood: himself. It's 1995. Michael Ovitz is at the absolute peak of his power. And then his old friend, Michael Ovitz, CEO of Disney, calls him with an offer. Come be president of Disney. On paper, it makes sense. Ovitz has spent 20 years in Hollywood. He knows every studio, every deal, every player. Disney is one of the biggest entertainment companies on earth. Together, they should be unstoppable. Ovitz says yes. It is the biggest mistake of his life. From the moment he walks through Disney's doors, everything goes wrong. The culture at Disney is nothing like CA. At CA, Ovitz was the king. Every decision flowed through him. Every person in the building answered to him. His word was final, absolute, unquestioned. At Disney, Michael Ovitz is the king, and Ovitz's old friend turns out to be threatened by him, jealous of him, unwilling to actually share power with him. The executives at Disney resent Ovitz immediately. They see him as an outsider, an agent, not a real studio man. They freeze him out of meetings. They root decisions around him. They whisper about him in hallways. Ovitz, who built his entire empire on reading people and navigating relationships, suddenly see entry the room he is in. He makes it worse. He brags to journalists about his plans for Disney. He positions himself publicly as the future of the company, while Ovitz is still very much in charge. He comes across as arrogant, tone-deaf, and dangerously unaware of how much he is being resented. He has spent 20 years making people fear him. Now he needs people to trust him, and he doesn't know how to make that switch. After just 14 months, Michael Ovitz pushes him out. 14 months. The most powerful man in Hollywood humiliated, dismissed, and shown the door of the one job he thought would take him to the next level. But here is the part that truly stings. After he leaves Disney, Ovitz expects Hollywood to welcome him back with open arms. He was the king after all. Surely everyone remembers that. They don't. Or rather, they remember everything. Every enemy he made. Every person he throws out. Every phone call he didn't return when he was on top. Every star he coldly dropped when they stopped being useful. Every studio executive he humiliated in a negotiation. Hollywood has a very long memory. Door after door closes. Projects fall apart. Partnerships collapse before they begin. The same industry he once controlled with an iron fist now refuses to return his calls. He starts a new agency. It fails. He launches a management company. It struggles. He files lawsuits. He makes accusations. He burns more bridges. The man who understood power better than almost anyone alive could not accept that the rules had changed, that the currency of fear he had spent 20 years building had an expiration date. So what does Michael Ovitz's story teach us? It teaches us that how you build matters as much as what you build. Ovitz constructed an empire on fear, control, and leverage, and it worked spectacularly for a long time. But fear is a foundation with a crack running through it. The moment you step away from the source of that fear, the moment you are no longer the one holding the cards, it collapses. The people who truly last in any industry, in any life, build on something sturdier. Loyalty, genuine relationships, respect that doesn't depend on what you can do for someone today. Ovitz knew the 48 laws of power better than almost anyone, but he forgot one of the most important lessons buried inside all of them. Every king eventually leaves the throne. What matters is what people say about you when you're gone. He was the most feared man in Hollywood. But fear is not love. Fear is not loyalty. And when the fear was gone, there was nothing left underneath it. Here at AmdiVibes, we tell these stories because the lessons inside them are alive. They are happening right now in offices, in relationships, in the quiet decisions you make every day about how you treat people on your way up, because you will meet them all again on your way down. If this story made you think, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Subscribe to AmdiVibes for more stories like this, because this is the content that actually changes how you see the world. We'll see you in the next one.